Chair. Good call, Mr. Chair. Point 5.
We'll wake up now.
Yes, Rugby World Cup empowering bill. Speaking to part 5, just noting that when the international media covers images of rugby football or football fans rioting on the streets of a city somewhere in the UK, the international community take a very strong view on that, and it certainly doesn't reflect well on that particular country, although that may be a very isolated event. In France and Europe, these things happen, and those of us watching from New Zealand go, okay, that's a pretty bad thing to happen, and I wonder whether I really want to go there. So we also don't want that sort of occurrence happening in New Zealand, and I think that the Rugby World Cup Empowering Bill addresses those concerns that I have expressed and have been expressed by other members in the House, although I don't know whether I necessarily agree with the previous contribution by Keith Locke. I'm not sure that the influence of the commentator on the park has that much influence in inflaming or controlling a crowd.
Yeah.
But certainly the Rugby World Cup liquor licensing regime aims to do that. It's not the only aspect that is going to maintain good crowd control, certainly, and I acknowledge that the loudspeaker, the person on the end of the loudspeaker might have a slight effect, but I do think we need to take note of what happened at Eden Park with the rugby league game last week and do whatever it takes to make sure that that kind of behaviour is not repeated at the Rugby World Cup next year, and we do not have those images being broadcast around the globe for people to make decisions on whether or not New Zealand is a good place to come to, because obviously one of the good side effects of the Rugby World Cup is to promote New Zealand as a desirable destination. So I just want to address the issues of liquor licensing. This bill does not change the criteria of liquor licences, and so in other words it certainly doesn't make it any easier to get a liquor licence just because we have a large sporting event and want to provide some hospitality to New Zealanders and visitors. What it does is it speeds up the process for getting liquor licences and ensures that the significant volume of applications which we anticipate will be processed in time. And I don't think it would be true to say that this bill goes soft on liquor licences. In fact, the bill provides for some additional requirements, and those traverse things like providing food, having food available, and having free drinking water available. It also gives police more powers to remove licences if conditions are breached. And indeed, if you turn to Clause 59, you will see that the suspension of a sale of liquor licence will continue for the duration of the Rugby World Cup. So if there is a Rugby World Cup liquor licence has been suspended for non-compliance, the operator cannot then turn to its licence provisions under the Sale of Liquor Act and continue to trade. Now, I would have thought that was quite a strong disincentive or a strong incentive to maintain good host responsibility and compliance. It is disappointing that we have had events at Eden Park such as we had on Saturday night, and we simply can't tolerate whatever. It was a game of sport. We simply can't tolerate that kind of behaviour. The stakes are too high for us in New Zealand. I think next year's Rugby World Cup needs to be different. The management needs to be stricter. There needs to be more proactive alcohol management planning. And I will note that in Wellington, if you go to the Sevens, as I have on several occasions, the rules around... I was stunning, in fact, and I'll give you a rundown. A potted plant, I think, one year, and another year, well, never mind. Never mind. I certainly enjoyed the occasion, but was not able to buy bottles of liquor, and so the liquor licensing requirements are tight already for some events in New Zealand. There are many people flocking to Wellington, and for the whole weekend, the event is run successfully. And I would hope that kind of liquor licensing regime will prevail throughout New Zealand for the Rugby World Cup.
Ian Lees.